Everybody is a Jeopardy fan. It's fun to sit on the couch and challenge yourself with the questions and the answers. What if I had a question for you? Actually, it's the answer. He is a University of Toledo microbiologist who's a 4-time Jeopardy champion. Would you know the name? Would you know the name?
I do.
What's the answer?
Who is John Presloid?
You are correct, sir, and you answered it in the form of a question. You are a 4-time Jeopardy champion, and you're right here from Toledo, University of Toledo microbiologist. How did you get mixed up in trivia?
It's just something I've been doing my whole life. So when I was little, I just loved to read books, and for whatever reason, maps. I would just open an atlas and just look at the map. And, oh, it's this country and this city, and then, oh, what's in France? And
so geography is an interest of yours.
Yes.
Well, what sorts of other topics interest you?
Almost everything. Like science, I love reading something about history where I'll just look up something and then all of a sudden I'm reading for some battle in World War I for like 2 hours, you know.
So you have this wealth of knowledge. Some of it is useless.
Most of it.
But you still have it nonetheless.
Yeah.
And I guess at some point you figured, I got to test myself against the best of the best.
Yeah, so in high school, they had like a trivia club that would do competitions, and we actually had buzzer systems where you would compete against different high schools, so I had some practice then. And then just since then, I've always been trying to get on Jeopardy, but doing the bar trivia and the pub trivia around town, and it's fun.
Beating everybody at these games?
Sometimes. I mean, there's a lot of good trivia people out there, and a lot of it is luck where you just get the questions you know, or sometimes you get questions you don't know. And
so you've blown the bell curve a lot.
Well, I don't know if I would say that, but.
Well, you mentioned Jeopardy. Was that a show you watched a lot as a child and always wanted to be on?
Oh yeah, we watched it every day.
And how would you do when you were sitting on the couch?
So usually it's always easier on the couch.
Yeah.
Like there's no better feeling than you're watching on the couch and you get something, like even now they're having like all the All-Stars and stuff. Mm-hmm. And there's still questions that no one on the show gets. And you're like, I know that. And you never feel smarter than that until you get on the show. And
so as a team, you did a lot of, not necessarily research, it's just enjoyment reading, and you absorb these inane facts.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, it just sticks. Like there's stuff that I don't even know, like I'm not trying to learn it or memorize it, and then, oh, I remember reading this, and it just pops up. And
you're a Jeopardy fan, so you decided you were going to try out for Jeopardy. You auditioned at age 18.
Yeah, so it just sort of happened. Back then, they didn't have the online test, so you had to send in a note card, and they would call back however many people they wanted for the audition, and then you got into the audition, and you had to take a test on the spot. And back in those days, they would have about 200 people in the room to take the test, and then immediately, if you didn't pass the test, you're out.
Now, is it just knowledge-based? Do they look at personality? Do they look at the way you appear?
So for the test part, it's just knowledge. So it's 50 questions, and it's just like the show. So they'll give, state capitals, and they'll give you a question. And then the second question, world history. Third question, opera. And they just give you 50 questions straight up. They score them. After that, so now they do that with an online test, so that's the first step.
Okay.
And then they bring you in for the in-person audition if you pass that test. And at the in-person audition, they give you a second test, because they want to make sure you weren't cheating or you're taking it in a group now that it's online, because they don't want to embarrass you on the show and have you get on there and not know what you're doing.
Right.
And they want a good show. They don't want 3 people just sitting up there not answering anything.
Should I press? Is he going to press? Well, you didn't pass your first time.
I did not pass my second or third either.
No kidding. How many times did you audition?
So this was my 4th in-person audition.
What do you think was the difference this time?
I think I was more relaxed. So having done it a few times, you sort of pick up on what they're looking for. At the end of the day, it's a show. Everyone has passed multiple tests to get to that point, so everyone there is smart. But it's a TV show, so they want someone that's going to look good on camera. They're not going to...
Exactly. You're not going to be withdrawn. You're going to be outgoing. So you pass the test, and then you pass, I guess, the physical appearance test. This looks like a guy who's going to be personable and not freeze on the air. How long do you have to wait between acceptance and then the taping of the program?
So after the audition, they don't say... Technically, everyone at the in-person audition, as long as you pass the test, you're in the contestant pool. And then they say they just pick however many contestants out of that pool.
Okay.
I don't think it's random. I do think they have people that they kind of circle that we definitely want these people in the real pool.
Sure.
And these people pass a test, but we'll see.
Okay, so they called you, let you know that you're coming.
Yes, so that was I auditioned in June, and then they say you're in the pool for 18 months.
Okay.
And then I got the call in October.
Oh, they must have really liked you.
I hope so.
Just 3 or 4 months. So I guess you pack up your suitcase and you head to New York? LA. Oh, okay.
LA. Yeah, the tape's in Culver City in LA.
Okay, and was that it? You must have been excited then.
Oh, I couldn't even sleep, especially the night right before taping, where you just get the butterflies in your stomach. I'm going to be on Jeopardy. I'm going to be on Jeopardy. It's definitely hard to sleep.
Because you don't know what it's like to be in a television studio with an audience and all those cameras, and it's going out to millions of people.
Yeah, this is it. Like, I've been talking about this for years. Everyone knows. You can't talk about the results, but you can say, I'm going to tape on Jeopardy, and I'm going to be on, January 16th. So everyone knows I'm going to be on. I've been talking about this for years, so it's like I don't want to look like an idiot and, he got on there and he lost. He wasn't that good.
Okay, so you walk out there. What's your first impression when you hit the stage?
It's so small. It is tiny. So what you see when you're watching the show is basically the entire stage.
Yeah.
So you got the contestants, you have the walls, or the wall of questions, you have Alex, and that's it.
Frame to frame, that's the stage.
And then right off stage is the audience, and the audience, it looks big on TV. It's probably only about 70 or 80 people.
All right, so what's Alex like? Yeah, obviously you must talk to him before the show?
Actually not. So the rehearsal, they pick you up from the hotel at 7 in the morning. And then they do rehearsals, they go over rules, they go over what happens if this goes wrong. And they do about 3 or 4 hours of prep, which actually really helps because it makes you kind of calm when you're on stage and you've already had practice buzzing in, you've already practiced looking at the cameras. And then when the game's about to start is when Alex walks out.
Okay.
So he comes out, he's been backstage practicing reading his questions. He has the question set, so he's not messing up anything during the reading.
During the taping, did he ever mess up and they would have to do it again because he read the question wrong?
Yes.
Oh, that happened.
Behind the scenes scoop. Yeah, so it doesn't happen a lot. Like, I would mess up way more questions if I was actually reading all day long. But during the commercial breaks, the producers come, they give the contestants water, make sure everyone's doing okay. And then if he messed anything up, he'll reread the questions because on camera it's just showing the words.
See, I've always been impressed that he's never screwed up a question, and you're telling me he has.
It's rare.
Well, that's good to know. All right, so you get out there, you're a little bit nervous, and it's your very first show. Okay. Are you watching Alex read, or are you reading ahead of him to try to answer the question first?
Yeah, so I'm reading ahead. So the tricky part about Jeopardy is the buzzer, for sure.
Yeah.
There's sometimes when the camera zooms out or in between commercials, you kind of see it pan in, and there's a table with a bunch of people sitting at it. So that's the judge's table. One of the judges, his entire job, you can't see there's lights on the side of the board, and that indicates when you can buzz in. So if you buzz in before the lights go on, you get locked out.
That's when we see people pressing that
button. And that's
button.
why, But that's what they tell you is because if you get locked out, there's a decent chance that everyone got locked out. So you want to keep buzzing in case you're the first one to get locked back in.
That must be frustrating. Did you ever get locked out and you knew the answer, but you...
Oh, yeah, every time. I mean, that happens to everybody. I always say you couldn't tell from me because I just kind of naturally stand like that.
Okay.
So I know there's some people that I played where everyone's like, oh, why are they going crazy? They look crazy. Like, John's so calm. Like, I'm doing that. I'm just doing it under the table.
Oh, that must be so frustrating. You know the answer, but you can't get in time.
Yeah.
But then that's part of the game.
Yeah.
Because you're all smart.
Right.
And sometimes the people that don't win a lot of money, they might even be smarter than you. They're just not as good with the button.
Like I said, everyone that makes it to that stage is very smart. I had one guy who finished negative, and it's heartbreaking because that's everyone's worst nightmare, but he's smart. It's just bad luck with the buzzer and then 1 or 2 bad questions and you're in big trouble.
But the trick of the game is the reverse. It is the answer they give, the question you give. How difficult was that to answer in the form of a question?
I thought it would be harder, but I never really had any issues with it. I think once you kind of get in that mode, and especially because I had a couple games in a row, I think it just sort of helps you. It's just kind of natural, and especially from watching it for so long, it just never really bothered me.
This is interesting. Your first game was against a 4-time champion.
Yes.
And you go to Final Jeopardy, and you're 3rd out of 3.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you thinking?
So they were really tough. So my mom and my husband were in the crowd.
Yeah.
And they were kind of like ready to cry because they're like, he's going to be so disappointed. I thought I had lost. They were both really fast. They were both really smart. They were really good competitors.
What was the question?
So I can't remember exactly how it was worded, but it was, I think, October Christian was the first person born on this remote island in 17.
And you knew the answer.
Sort of.
Okay, so you guessed. It doesn't matter.
So the trick of the question was the name Christian was from Mutiny on the Bounty, and Mutiny on the Bounty was at Pitcairn Island. I did not know. I couldn't make the Mutiny on the Bounty, or I didn't know that Christian was from Mutiny on the Bounty, but I did know that Mutiny on the Bounty was Pitcairn Island.
Okay.
So it's like, it's a remote island. I couldn't think of a better guess, so at least it's a good guess.
And it's blind as to how much you're willing to wager, because you don't know the question, right?
Right, you just know the category.
Yeah.
So I knew, being in third, that the only way I could win is they both would have to get it wrong, because I didn't have enough money to pass them both, even if I doubled up. So I knew they had to get it wrong, and I had to get it right. So they read mine first, because I'm in last. And I got it right. You can kind of see my face, like, I don't know, and it was right. It's like, okay. So in my head, I'm thinking, I got it right, but they're both really smart, so one of them is going to get it right too. But at least I got the right answer. I finished with, I think, 12,000 my first day. So it's like I did fine. I buzzed in on a few questions. I didn't look stupid. I got the right final. So I lost, but I made good.
Next day, they throw you the Holy Toledo question. Were you surprised that they do that just for you?
No, everyone asks that.
The glass capital of the world was the question.
Right.
The
So
answer.
they actually have multiple layers. So they write extra sets of questions. So they take 5 shows in a day. And they'll come out there with question set 1, 2, 3, and they're just in numbered envelopes. And then they actually have separate group of lawyers, like, you know, when you watch the Oscars, they have the Westinghouse with the...
Right.
So it's like that, and the lawyers will come and say, okay, Tuesday is question set 4. This day is question set 3, and they'll assign them that way. And then after that, they literally pick contestants out of a hat to see who's going to compete in which day.
You recorded these over Thanksgiving.
Just after Thanksgiving,
And
yes.
they were broadcast June 16th through the 22nd.
January.
That's what I
Yeah.
meant. And you couldn't tell anybody what happened.
Nope.
You won 4 times and you couldn't tell anybody. You won $92,000
Yes.
and you couldn't tell anybody.
It was really hard because again, it was my dream, and it's like I did so good, and I just wanted to tell everybody, and everyone knew I was on Jeopardy, so everyone's asking like, "Oh, is it fun?" Trying to get hints, but they will take all your money.
Did they make you sign a contract?
So yeah, just a stack of papers.
All right, John, we're going to play Jeopardy.
Okay.
The category is you better know T. You better know. This is Toledo stuff, okay? University of Toledo. Donated to the university in 1968, this 8-ton rock is the symbol of UT student body.
What is
Tick,
the student pride rock?
tick. Spirit Rock.
Spirit Rock.
You're very close,
That was
but I'm not giving
I've
that
seen
one
it.
to you.
It's all painted, and all the frats.
Hey, that's half the battle. In 1961, this military service donated the missile that sits in front of the glass bowl. Just pick one.
What is the Air Force?
U.S. Army. Did I say that condescendingly enough, like Alex? Since 1980, BGSU and UT have played for this trophy.
What is the Battle of the 75?
What is the peace pipe? But that's not a bad guess. Okay, in 1959, UT selected this name as the university's alma mater. Oh boy, I'm glad Alex didn't ask you these questions. Fair Toledo. I'm so sorry. This man, this is the last one, don't worry. This man donated 160 acres of land to create the University of Toledo. Yeah, I'm sorry I answered this one, John. Jessup Wakeman Scott. Okay, those questions aside, were there any when you were on the program that you wish you had back? I knew the answer.
Definitely. So my last game, the one that I lost, I should have had Chipotle where no one buzzed in for it. And there was a couple that I was just like a second too late, but Chipotle was the big one where it was like a stock symbol, CMG, for Mexican food. And I could think of Chipotle, but I couldn't remember what the MG stood for, so I was scared to buzz in. So if I would have got that, I think I would have been ahead or at least tied going into the final Jeopardy, and I would have had a better chance of winning.
You mentioned that you do, what, it's a whole week's worth, 5 shows in one day?
Yes.
I would imagine by shows 3, 4, and 5, you're getting beat.
It's more exhausting than I would have thought.
Yeah.
Where I can definitely tell, especially my last couple of games, like I feel watching it that I looked really tired. Like I feel like I drained. I remember just kind of being like.
So do you watch this a lot? You watch your performance?
I haven't rewatched it. I watched it live when it was on TV, but I haven't rewatched it since
What did you
then.
think when you saw yourself and how you performed?
It was funny. So especially the first day or two, I didn't realize how much I kind of moved back and forth a lot, and just
was
like
that nerves, or do you normally do that?
I normally do that, but I didn't think it was that much.
Were there any great memories that you're going to take away from this?
I mean, the whole experience was so much fun. I met a lot of good people. The woman that I beat, Anarchy, actually just this last weekend, there was a trivia tournament in Las Vegas. And we were on the same team with another contestant that taped with us. And, so you meet a lot of really cool, interesting people And then we still keep in contact, so that's really neat.
Are you going to rent yourself out for party favors? You know, like trivia contests at parties and things?
I'd consider it if people want to pay.
So I would imagine a bar does not want to see you. They don't want to see you coming in and dominating their contests.
I'm sure, maybe it'll bring in extra people if they know I'll be there. I don't know.
Well, Ken Jennings wrote a book.
Well, he was much more successful.
Ken Jennings pretty much owned that show for a couple of months. I'm guessing a lot of people come up to you and say, don't I know you from somewhere?
Yeah, especially for some, it's weird at the gym. I get a lot of that.
Yeah.
Grocery shopping, especially while it was on.
Do they challenge you?
Actually, not in person. Most of the time, they're just excited, and they always want to hear about Alex. Everyone wants to hear about Alex.
But they never ask you about a question or anything?
Not really. They'll talk about like the Toledo question, like, oh, I can't believe you got that Toledo question. That was so cool.
Yeah, it was like a gimme for you.
As soon as I saw it, I knew it was Toledo. I have to buzz in first. I
mentioned earlier, did I ask and give you the answers condescendingly as Alex? Is he really condescending?
He is a little bit, but in a fun way. Like I got a kick out of it, where it's more, not you're an idiot condescending, but just kind of teasing you, poking you in the ribs.
John, you should have known that. Yeah, that sort of thing. Are you Tournament of Champions eligible?
I'm eligible right now. I think I'm in the second last spot.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So if somebody wins 5 games, then you'd go down another spot.
Yes.
Another 5 or 6, and then you're off.
Yes.
You would be disappointed, I would guess.
Extremely.
Because you want to go back.
I would love to go back. I would go back in a heartbeat.
Do you miss it? Did you really enjoy your time there?
It was the most fun I've ever had. Like I would do it for free. Like I would go back to the tournament for free. I wouldn't even take any money. Like it's just so much fun just being there. I thought I was going to be really nervous and like sick to my stomach when I got up there because it's so much pressure, but literally, I think it came across. I think that's why I ended up kind of being popular. But like I was just having such a good time and so much fun. I think it's just
natural. They want people who are natural. So your last program, you won over $14,000, but you don't get to keep it.
No, only $2,000.
Okay, but 92 is enough. Well, you played Jeopardy with us here.
Well,
unfortunately, you didn't win any money, John. But I really am so glad that we got a chance to meet you. As soon as I saw you on that program, I thought I have to have him on. So thank you so much, John Presloid, for going off air with us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Congratulations to you, and I wish you luck in the Tournament of Champions. Hope you get that far.
Let's hope.
John, thank you for coming
Thanks,
on.
Bill.
Take care.